The Auburn Tigers have won 5 games in a row inside Beard East Memorial Coliseum, but today that streak will be tested in a big way as this group of young men, the Xavier Musketeers, come a-calling. Well, they call it the loveliest village on the plains, and why not? It's an absolutely gorgeous day at Auburn University, and we have set up shop inside Beard East Memorial Coliseum for a little college basketball, an SEC Atlantic 10 showdown between Xavier and Auburn. It's all coming your way on this Sunday afternoon. And hello again, everybody. I'm Dave Neal alongside the coach Eddie Fogler, and Coach Xavier comes in here red hot. They've won 3 straight by an average of 32 points a game. Meanwhile, this Auburn team at 9-2 playing pretty well, but they come in with a very depleted roster. How are they going to handle this Xavier team today?
Well, it's going to be very difficult for Auburn, Dave. Xavier's playing its best basketball of the year, maybe one of the most balanced teams in America. Had Virginia down by 31 at halftime. I wouldn't want to be a defensive coordinator trying to figure out how to stop them. Auburn with a depleted roster. Jeff Lebo thinks he has his 7 top scorers returning this year. Now he basically has 1 front court player and no reserves in the back court. They are going to have to control the tempo to have any chance here today.
And speaking of that, we will highlight 2 exceptional backcourts. Xavier brings in perhaps 2 of the best backcourt players in the country, in Drew Lavender and Stanley Burrell.
Well, combined, these guys, Dave, are shooting 44% from 3, only 92% at the foul line, and are averaging almost 3 assists to every 1 turnover. An outstanding backcourt. And for the Tigers, a younger backcourt, but Quantez Robertson leads the SEC in minutes played. Dwayne Reed is second in steals. I wouldn't be surprised if Robinson doesn't play the entire 40 minutes.
Yeah, Quantez will have to pick up his scoring a little bit if this Auburn team has any chance of winning here today. This is a matchup that has not occurred in a long, long time. You got to go back to the 70s before Auburn and Xavier met on the hardwood. The high-flying Tigers will host the Musketeers. It's all coming your way in a matter of moments. Best point guards in all of college basketball. The Musketeers' Drew Lavender, averaging 12.5 points, will lead a starting 5 that is very balanced and experienced. It'll be Drew Lavender, Stanley Burrell in the backcourt, Derrick Brown, C.J. Anderson manning the 3 and 4 spots, and down in the middle, it'll be Jason Love, who's averaging just about 5.5 rebounds per game. Now, the starting lineup for the Auburn Tigers, it's not hard to pick this starting 5. Frank Tolbert will lead the way, averaging 10 points a game. Also, look for Dwayne Reed to pick up his play, the sophomore out of Houston, Texas, second in the league in steals. Rasheem Barrett, Quantez Robinson, an outstanding point guard, 7.6 points a game, over 5 assists per contest. That's it, folks. The Magnificent 7, the scholarship players left at Auburn. Today's presentation of college basketball is brought to you by Dodge. We are inside Beard East Memorial Coliseum, home to the Auburn Tigers, who have won 5 in a row inside this building, but they'll have to go about their business at least for the next month without that man. For Votney Barber, averaging about 13.8 points, 6.9 rebounds, leading the NCAA in field goal percentage, but broken hand, out for a while, and his inside presence will be sorely missed today against this Musketeer team that is about as balanced as any team playing right now.
Well, 6 players in double figures, Dave. Had a game with 7 players in double figures. I'm not sure I've ever seen that in any basketball game at the college level.
We mentioned at the open how well Xavier has been playing. They got off to an 8-1 start, lost a couple of games, including at home to Tennessee. But they have won 3 in a row by an average of 32 points, and those wins came over some pretty good teams like Kansas State was one of those wins, and Virginia was the other one. Shot clock expires. Opening possession goes nowhere for the Musketeers.
Well, right away, Jeff Lebo's game plan comes out. He's going to zone here today for a couple of reasons. Number 1, it keeps his players from getting in foul trouble. Number 2, it keeps the fatigue problem down to a low level. And number 3, in Xavier's only poor performance of the year, they were zoned for 40 minutes at Arizona State and got beat badly.
Tolbert going for the rebound off the Dwayne Reed miss, will pick up the foul. Tolbert, a high flyer, very athletic player, and without much size, a guy like Tolbert will be critical in picking up a few extra rebounds.
3-2 zone, matching up on the ball, covering the high post with the middle man of the 3-2 zone.
Xavier working that zone offense. They find Burrell, and this team is shooting the three-pointer as well as anybody in America. Over the last 2 games, they are 27 and 43 on three-point shots. That's 62%. Auburn tries to answer back. Brown misses. There's Tolbert. Told you we'll need some big rebounds out of him if Auburn wants to hang around Xavier today.
Dave, getting back to three-point shooting, those are unbelievable numbers in their wins. In Xavier's 3 losses, though, they only shot 27% from 3.
Right. Misfires. And then rebound pulled out of there by Jason Love. Little layup from Brown is left short. Pull-up jumper from Rasheem Barrett goes down, averaging 14 points a contest and shooting 46% from the floor.
Auburn, not a particularly good three-point shooting team, needs to get points off the break and on steals, if at all possible.
Lavender, the 5'7" guard out of Columbus, Ohio, knocks down the 3 at 6'2", Musketeers.
The short corner is where Xavier's attacking the Auburn zone. They're kicking out. Xavier, Dave, very solid man-to-man team. Very little switching.
High arching shot from Frank. Tolbert goes down. Tolbert just a 21% shooter from behind the arc. 7 of 29 this year.
Now Xavier's very well coached by Sean Miller. They will have great patience against the zone. It's a solid zone matching up. This will control the tempo, however, for Auburn, who's trying to keep this game in the 60s.
Anderson inside, draws the foul.
Here's the short corner, Dave. The ball will go right here to the short corner. People will spot up on the perimeter, and you'll see the pass go back out to Lavender once the ball goes to the short corner. There's the spot up. People dive for the basket, and the three-pointer by Lavender.
Anderson, junior, out of Cincinnati, averaging almost 12 points a game. Had a career-high 20 against Coppin State earlier this year when he hit 8 out of 10 from the floor. Here's Dwayne Reed, kicks it out to the corner. Rasheem Barrett, his 16th 3 of the year. Here's Burrell. Robertson working on him defensively. Lavender will try it again. Wasn't pretty, but was effective, and it counts for 3. And Coach, how about Xavier now? They are 30 out of 46 in their last 2+ games from behind the arc. That's amazing.
Well, it is, Dave, and they've got 4 guys who could shoot it as well, so it doesn't necessarily have to depend on one player to be hot from behind the arc.
C.J. Anderson will pick up that foul. That'll be his first. Substitutions coming in. Josh Duncan checking in. B.J. Raymond and Dante Jackson.
Well, here's the 8 versus the 5, Dave. Auburn still with its original 5, and Xavier already going to its bench.
Once again, only 7 scholarship players available for Auburn due to injuries, suspensions, and just about everything you could think of. Tolbert kicks it out. Montez Robertson to the basket. With the left hand, nice move.
Well, so far, Auburn has done a great job of penetrating off the dribble, creating angles for passers and drivers and hitting their shots.
Burrell, he'll pull up. First miss of the game from behind the arc for the Musketeers. 3 out of 4 today. These two teams combined to knock down 5 out of 8 three-pointers this afternoon. But it was Montez Robertson who goes inside for his first basket of the game. Musketeers by 1.
Full Court is presented by Olivia, award-winning high-definition television.
Today's presentation of college basketball is brought to you by Chevy. Back in at Auburn, loveliest village on the plains, inside Beard East Memorial Coliseum. Only a few more years inside this building before they embark on a new basketball arena. And inside that Auburn huddle, Jeff Lebo, of course, an exceptional player for the North Carolina Tar Heels in his day, and his counterpart, Sean Miller, not to be denied his kudos on his playing career. He was in Pittsburgh, and he was an all-Big East performer his senior year, 1992. And you know Jeff very well from his Carolina days.
Well, I recruit Jeff to the University of North Carolina. He has changed just a little bit. And interestingly, too, here, Dave, both these coaches played for their dads in high school, who are high school coaches in the state of Pennsylvania. Born to be coaches, both of them.
Alley-oop underneath to Quan Prowler. Colbert with the assist.
Well, nice set play coming out of the timeout. A little back screen, and Prowl runs to the rim, and Tolbert just floats it over the basket for an easy hoop.
It's Auburn's first lead of the game at 12-11. Duncan sets a screen. Jackson to the corner. Raymond nowhere to go. Well, if nothing else, this zone has slowed down Xavier's offense. They've scored 100 points in back-to-back games. Here comes Dwayne Reed back the other way. Auburn's going to have to shoot the ball very well. And a reach-in foul against Jackson.
Well, the step out and go, actually no screen. He just was coming to the top of the key and reverse pivots. And Quan Prowl, quite an athlete, a transfer from Furman, from Columbus, Georgia, not too far from Auburn.
Here's Tolbert. Left-handed layup is good.
Well, Sean Miller not very happy with the perimeter defense of his Musketeers, getting beat off the dribble, creating easy baskets for the Tigers.
And that's an area that in the last couple of weeks that he's been very happy with his club. He feels like he's got the defensive effort that he's been looking for. And a foul against Auburn. That will go against Rasheem Barrett.
Well, they're holding opponents to 40% from the floor, Dave. They're a solid man-to-man team, but here today, the quick dribble penetration of Auburn has been hard for the Musketeers to contain.
You know, we talk about Auburn shooting the basketball. They've actually shot the ball pretty well recently. They've, you know, had their moments, obviously, but this is what Jeff Lebo talks about without his best player, Barber, talking about how they're going to have to shoot the ball extremely well from the perimeter to have any chance, because we really don't have much of an inside game. As a matter of fact, there isn't an inside game. Robertson misfires. Lavender back the other way. One of the few times Xavier's been able to get out and run, and that's because of the missed shot at the other end, and there's a three from Raymond.
Well, a great point, Dave. That one of the first times to run, and the little guy can find the open people.
Pretty impressive when you're starting backcourt for the Musketeers, ranked 1 and 2 in the Atlantic 10 in assist-to-turnover ratio. And Reed steps on the baseline. It'll be Xavier basketball.
Well, that is a great stat you just gave, Dave. And then in addition, their front court people are good passes. This overall is a very good passing team. They shoot very well from two, great from three. They're a tremendous foul shooting team. Very difficult to defend. Again, Arizona State zoned Xavier for 40 minutes, and Xavier's only poor performance of the year. And now Jeff Lebo comes out with a different zone, a 1-3-1 extended.
It'll be Xavier basketball, 25 seconds on the shot clock.
Now this zone defense extends out more. It's a 1-3-1 look. They're in the passing lanes. Auburn is second in the SEC in steals. This defense gives them a better chance to steal the ball, but not there as they give up the easy layup.
Josh Duncan lays it in over the iron. Auburn quickly back the other way. And that is Xavier's first two-point basket of the game. How about that? double on Reed. He gets it to Robertson. Swinging around, Barrett from the corner. Got it again. Rasheem Barrett, the 6'5" junior out of Atlanta, GA, knocks down the three out of the corner.
Well, and as I like to say, Dave, that possession wins games. Watch the ball movement, the extra 2 passes here. This play wins basketball games. Out of the double team, not one pass, but the second pass is the pass that gets the wide open shot. Excellent ball movement by Auburn.
It's got to be frustrating as a coach. When you look at that on tape, you're like, how easy? That looked very easy, but yet you don't see it very often.
You see usually one pass out of the trap. You generally don't get the second pass, and that's the best pass. Back to the 3-2 matchup now. Every time a Xavier player catches it on the perimeter, there'll be an Auburn player straight up on him with man-to-man defensive responsibilities within this zone.
There's Brown, who'll kick it to Duncan out of the corner. Duncan fires a three. Duncan at 6'9". Trying to knock down the three, couldn't get it to go. Here's Robertson, back the other way. Tolbert. Brown will try the three. Left it short. Duncan the rebound. Brown, the guy that's playing the 5 position for Jeff Lebo today, he's a 3/4 player.
Well, and Jeff told me if he had his whole team healthy, he would have been a 2-man in some of their lineups.
Wow.
That's what they were planning on, and right now, as you indicate, Dave, he's the 5-man.
Raymond out of the corner, knocks down the three.
Nice patience by the Musketeers. You must be patient versus zones. Zones slow the offense down. You don't want the quick shot, but Auburn late getting to the shooter.
Off the back of the iron, Crowell was there. Mistimed his jump, however. Bounce pass. Now Raymond, he'll line it up. That's another three. My goodness, they're like layups for the Musketeers.
Well, he's 44% from 3, but like I indicated, Duncan, Burrell, Lavender, they also can shoot it.
It's an 11-3 run, and Xavier is 6 out of 9 from behind the arc. And that'll get us to a timeout with 10:41 to go in the opening half. They make it look easy. Everybody on the roster can shoot it. B.J. Raymond, the junior out of Toledo, shows you how it's done. Today's presentation of college basketball is brought to you by Southeast Toyota. In Auburn, Alabama, where the homestanding Tigers put their 5-game winning streak on the line. Undefeated here in Beardy's Memorial Coliseum this year, and they've done it despite missing some key elements. Josh Dollard redshirted for medical reasons before the season started. Now the latest injury is Barber. You see him out 4 to 6 weeks. Boubacar Silla, a guy that they were a freshman they were counting on. And to just put an exclamation point on this, it took over 9 minutes for Jeff Lebo to use his first sub today.
Yeah, I mean, that's what it is. It's borders on ridiculous, Dave, quite frankly. And Quan Prowl didn't play the first couple of games as well during the year. Now here's Xavier coming out in a 3-2 zone. Don't typically play a lot of zone, but the Tigers are not a particularly good 3-point shooting team. This could work in Auburn's favor, though, because it slows the game down on the other end.
Here's Tolbert, gets the loose basketball. His finger roll no good. Tapped around, rebound, pulled out of there by Xavier's Jason Love, who gets hacked across the bridge of the nose. Now, you mentioned that Auburn not a good 3-point shooting team. Coach, they come in 11th in the SEC at 32%.
And it's difficult. How do you score now? You have no inside game, basically, with all the injuries. You're not a particularly good 3-point shooting team. It's difficult to score. Steals is a great way. They're athletic and quick on the perimeter.
You look at Xavier's numbers, that season number. It's hard to believe the way that they've been shooting the last 2.5 games, that they're at 38%. That's 3rd in the Atlantic 10. Shot clock down to 7. Here's Brown, just inside the arc. High arching shot goes down for Derrick Brown, averaging over 11 points a game, a sophomore out of Dayton, Ohio.
You're already seeing the balance, Dave. It doesn't matter which Musketeer puts a shot up. If it's a good shot, they're all very capable.
Here's Lucas Hargrove just checked in for the Tigers, has it stripped out of his hands. Lavender, the alley-oop to Derrick Brown. That's how you run a fast break.
Well, he's long and athletic, and again, when Lavender has it in the middle of the court, he's as good as any guard in the country making the right decision.
Reed pull up inside the arc, not much of an offensive possession. Dribble and shoot for Dwayne Reed.
Well, you're nice, Dave. That's a bad shot, is the way I say it.
Xavier, 9 assists, only 2 turnovers in this game, and their lead is 9. And a traveling violation will give it to the Tigers. Just their 3rd turnover of the game. They only turned the ball over 12 times a contest.
Well, the little feller gets his eyes up and just easy alley-oop as Brown runs the floor. Reward those big guys who can run. And the behind the back, just a terrific little guy. And transfer from Oklahoma, very veteran. Been in a lot of big games for Xavier.
Foul on the inside against the Musketeers. How long does Auburn stay in a zone against a team that's shooting so well? I mean, at what point do you say, all right, I'm going to have to take my chances in a man-to-man?
Well, that's a great question. I think you do that by feel. I probably would say before too long, Jeff would probably try a possession of man-to-man just to keep mixing it. But again, Dave, the man-to-man is going to create foul trouble and fatigue problems. Those are 2 issues that they can't deal with only 7 scholarship players.
Basically, you're saying they're just going to have to live and die by that zone for the most part.
Pretty much. Yeah. I mean, how do you defend these guys with only 7 guys? You know, he told me a story the other day in practice. They had to change practice time because 2 walk-ons had a conflict and couldn't make practice, so they changed the practice time for that day because 2 walk-ons had an exam to take.
30-second timeout called by Xavier.
He asked me what I thought. I said, I don't have anything. I don't thought.
Yeah, that's right.
I have nothing I can tell you.
Tell me, you're on your own.
Yeah, exactly.
Well, you know, when I saw Jeff this morning, I said, how do you practice? And he says, well, we really don't. Not the way that we should be practicing. You know, when our guys, our starting 5 line up against a bunch of walk-ons that we throw on the floor, it's not the same as game competition. So these guys get out here and it takes them a couple minutes to get used to the speed.
Absolutely. You can't assimilate anything near what you're going to see. And then let's talk about the quality of the opponent here today. This is a top 20 basketball team. They've had 1 bad outing. That was a month ago at Arizona State. Nobody wants to play Xavier. They will be in the NCAA tournament, and they will be somebody who can make a run. This is a very, very good basketball team with an outstanding young coach.
Yes, I like the way this Sean Miller runs this operation. I mean, these guys know what to do, when to do it, and how to do it.
Well, it just takes you about 2 or 3 minutes to look and realize this is a very well-coached, disciplined ball club.
Lavender wide open from the corner. Got it. His second 3, and the Musketeers 7 out of 10 from behind the arc here in the first 12.5 minutes of the first half.
Well, the high post is where you want it. They go high post, and they kick it to the open Lavender. Now, Auburn's got to still have discipline on the offensive end, Dave. They can't jack up shots, or this will get ugly.
Prowl. Off the back of the iron. Auburn was shooting 60% just a couple of minutes ago, but they have quickly subsided. Lavender, the heady point guard, will bring it back to the top. Shot clock hits 15 seconds. Here's Burrell. Inside it goes, and a foul against Prowl with 8 on the shot clock. Xavier's lead is 10 at 29-19 with a timeout on the floor. Back to Auburn after this. Memorial Coliseum, where Xavier off to a 10-point advantage, and they've done it with just some great, using a football term, ball control offense.
Well, sound zone offense, Dave. You want to get to the hot post with the basketball versus zones, and then shooters spot up. Shooters spot up. Once the ball goes to the high post, you'll have somebody low as well. And now it goes to the high post. Boom, his job is to be a passer to the weak side, the wide open shot, and 3 men on the offensive board in case it doesn't go in. Textbook zone offense
by Sean Miller's team.
You asked me during the break how many shots have been contested by Xavier, and I don't think there's been one that's been really contested from the perimeter.
And Confucius say open shots go in more than contested shots.
Look at the field goal percentage, and that number will increase. Great ball movement again, and that time C.J. Anderson gets it to go down.
Classic high-low. Instead of going weak side, high post goes low. And now they come back to the zone, changing defenses, the Musketeers.
And that's an errant pass, to say the least. There was nobody over there in that corner except the people in the high-price seats.
Jeff Lebo still staying with the zone.
You know, you get a couple of misses by Xavier, and you knock down a couple of shots. But Xavier's getting wide open looks from behind the arc. I mean, this is almost, I mean, literally, they're 8 out of 11 from behind the arc. As I said it earlier, it's as good as layups.
Well, I hate to keep talking zone offense, but we got a clinic going on here today. That was screening the coverage for that open shot.
Reed off the window, no good. Here's Burrell, gets it to Jackson. Maybe the first, you could say, bad shot taken by Xavier today.
Well, I would call that an average shot. There was a hand in the face. Not good shot, not a bad shot, but that was not one of their better shots.
Bounce pass inside, a double team and a reach-in foul against Auburn. Carl Hess will call the foul against Quan Prowell underneath.
Well, the little fella off to a great start, not only distributing but making wide open threes. He's a great little player, a quarterback that gets his team in the end zone.
9 points, 3 assists already for the talented point guard. He's on the Bob Cousy watch list for the best point guards, and the Naismith Award as well. Reverse layup goes down, and Xavier, they've knocked down 5 out of 6 shots inside the arc, and they've knocked down 8 out of 12 from behind it.
Well, that's the interior passing of the big people there. Again, a very good passing team, not just the guards, but the front court also.
Robertson, big hop step, the tip, no good. In the corner, off the front of the iron. Rebound Robertson, he'll push it.
First bad shot, in my opinion, by Xavier.
Colbert flying around the baseline. Prowell.
Auburn still has to be more patient, Dave, and chip away at this lead. If they take quick shots, it'll only ignite the Xavier fast break. And here they go.
In the lane, has the turnover. Brown the other way, hangs in the air. Prowell grabs the rebound, up ahead. Barrett with fire off the iron. Here's Prowell inside, strong move, count the basket.
Nice offensive rebounder by Auburn's best athlete, Quan Prowell, who can really score. The tempo is going up and down here. This doesn't favor Auburn, but nobody blocks out Prowell, coming in, trailing the play, and then he's able to complete.
Well, that slows down Xavier somewhat. Musketeers on a 25-7 run. Auburn has hit just 2 of their last 12 shots during that time frame, while Xavier's knocked down 9 of 13. And Prowell converts a three-point play. Coach harped on it. Prowell missed the first 5 games for violation of team rules. And if they didn't have him back, imagine the mess Jeff Lebo would be in.
It's hard to believe they're 9-2, Auburn, with all the problems they've had with personnel. Short corner, Dave. There it goes.
3-second violation. Whistled against Jason Love inside.
So the other thing I want to commend Sean Miller on here today is he's played the 12th toughest schedule in the country by the RPI coming in here, and that will bode well for their RPI at the end of the year. Smart scheduling when you have a team this good. You don't want to underschedule this group.
Here's Quantez. Back to Williams. He fires right off the bench, wastes little time.
Well, the Tigers now have in a walk-on guard who's their third guard if either Robinson or Reed come out. That's how desperate it's gotten for Auburn.
Here's Lavender with 3:20 to go in the opening half. Inside. Turnover created on the baseline by Crowell. And it will be Auburn basketball. There's a foul against the Musketeers. That'll get us to a timeout on the floor. Auburn trailing by 14 inside their own building.
ESPN Full Court is presented by Olivia, award-winning high-definition television.
Coach equals terrific offensive basketball team.
4 players with 6 or more points here in the first half for the Musketeers. The 3 out of the corner from Larry Williams Jr. The redshirt freshman walk-on out of Birmingham, Alabama, just increased his scoring average. He came in at 2.2 a game. And now Auburn creates the turnover, down 11 with 2:45 to go before the break.
I would think Sean Miller would go back to the man-to-man. That was a wide-open look in the corner for Auburn. Here they come, man-to-man. They don't want to give up the open shot. They just got to contain the dribbler better.
Here's Tolbert.
Every time an Auburn player catches it, Dave, the closeout to the ball by Xavier is 2 hands up.
Williams will try it again. No good. Anderson rips down the rebound. Does it take more discipline to play zone defense or man-to-man defense from a player's perspective?
Well, players want to play zone, Dave. They think it's a rest period, but quite frankly, it takes discipline to play any kind of defense. But if you ask the players who don't want to really get after it, they'll say, Coach, let's play zone. Let's play zone.
Shot clock down to 2. And now 1 on the shot clock with 1:48 to go in the half.
Well, here comes a lob play. You got to really jam up the cutters going to the basket for the lob.
With 1 second on the shot clock, Stanley Burrell knocks down the 3.
And Lavender fakes the lob, and everybody converges, and they leave the corner wide open. That's the only other place you could throw it.
Robertson. Off to Larry Williams. And it looks like a moving screen will be called against Frank Tolbert.
Everybody goes for the lob. Watch Lavender fake the pass. They all go for the lob. And Josh Duncan is screening the zone accidentally, and nobody could get out to the corner.
There's an amazing statistic in this game. Assists to made field goals. Every made field goal has had an assist for Xavier today.
Well,
amazing.
One of the more impressive halves of basketball, Dave, with a little over a minute to go that I've seen in quite a while. This is a clinic offensively for Xavier.
That would have been the first unassisted basket of the game, so it'll keep the streak alive for Xavier. And a tie-up will give the ball to Auburn with 1:01 to go here in the first half. I told you about the 3-game winning streak where Xavier has won by an average of 32 points. Now, it's not against cupcakes, folks. They went out and they pounded Virginia 108-70. Didn't Kansas State throw them in the mix? That was 103-77. And then they beat Delaware State, holding Delaware State to just 33 points. They won 65-33.
Pretty impressive.
Yeah, I mean, what do you say? And that's all coming after they lost to Tennessee at home, 82-75 in a very hard-fought, good basketball game. And that was right about the time that Sean Miller changed his starting lineup.
Well, and they led by 4 with 4 minutes to go in that game, Dave, and the pressure of Tennessee's presses wore them down a little bit.
Robertson with the shot clock winding down, misfires, and Sean Miller says, let's play for one final shot and get out of here. 39-25, Musketeers lead. Five seconds. Raymond out of the corner, knocks down the three, and why not? Why not? If you like the game of basketball and you like the technical aspect of it, that's a half that you wanted to see. That was amazing.
Well, the other thing that's going on here, Dave, they're very disciplined, excellent passes, and they can shoot the ball. That's a contested, tough three, but my gosh, what a performance offensively, particularly here by an outstanding Xavier team.
65% shooting overall, and as I look at the stats over there, 10 out of 16 behind the arc. They came in this game where in the last two games they had hit 27 of 39 from behind the arc. So, I mean, it's amazing. It's an amazing display of three-point shooting.
But it's off of assists, as we indicated before, Dave. They're open looks off of easy passes. Very few of these shots are contested. Yeah, there's a hand up, but it's not a hand up that bothers good shooters. Good shooters can make these in shooting drills.
15 made baskets by Xavier, Coach. 15 assists. And if you're Auburn, you sit in that zone. It's got to be somewhat frustrating because you got to sit in that zone if you want to have a chance, but yet these guys are lighting it up.
Well, absolutely, Dave. One thing the zone did accomplish, Auburn only has 3 team fouls. No one's in foul trouble with their depleted roster.
All right, always looking for the bright side. I like it. That's why I work with the coach. We will come back, have more for Beard East Memorial Coliseum. Jeff Lebo not smiling in the locker room right now. His club trails 42-25. Our Chevy halftime report is just around the corner. It's our Chevy halftime report from Beard Eves Memorial Coliseum here in Auburn, Alabama, where the visiting Musketeers lead the Tigers 42-25. Not many bright spots for Auburn, but one of those has to be the outside shooting of Rasheem Barrett. Knocks down 2 of the team's 4 three-pointers. He finishes with 8 points. On the other side, just one of many you could pick. B.J. Raymond is 4 out of 5 from behind the arc. He's got a dozen points to lead the Musketeers. Back with more of the Chevy halftime report in a moment. I would never know it. See, this Saturday scores or not. Xavier leading Auburn 42-25. The Musketeers just on the outside of the top 25 looking in. A win today might get them into the Elite 25. Let's take a look at some scores from yesterday around the SEC. Mississippi State goes down to Jackson and puts a thumping on Lafayette. But how about Vanderbilt, Coach, over UMass? They trailed late, came back to win that game by 9. How good are they?
They're very good, Dave. I watched that game, and Shane Foster might be the best shooter in the country. Incredible. 7 threes yesterday.
Leading the league in scoring in the Southeastern Conference. You look at Arkansas over Baylor. Good win for Arkansas.
Road win, key win, excellent win for the Razorbacks. And Kentucky continues to struggle as Louisville goes into Rupp Arena. LSU injury plague gets blown out at Texas A&M. And then Georgia loses Singleton. Evidently says that he might be transferring out of their program. They get beat. And South Carolina loses a heartbreaker at home to a very good UNC Asheville team.
Well, as we take a look at the SEC standings as we get ready for conference play, you see Ole Miss undefeated at 13-0. There's Auburn at 9-2. And then you look at the SEC Eastern Division and Vanderbilt. They are undefeated as well. 15-0, best start in school history. Tennessee at 12-1. Just hang it in there. Wait till those two meet up a couple of times during SEC play. Chevy halftime report continues.
ESPN Full Court is presented by Olivia, award-winning high-definition television.
Not many two-point baskets for Xavier because they were shooting lights out in the first half. They lead Auburn 42-25. Dave Neal back alongside the coach Eddie Fogler. So glad you can be with us on this Sunday afternoon as we come to you from Beard Eves Memorial Coliseum here in Auburn. First time these two clubs have met since 1972 as we take a look at those first half stats. Coach, and what sticks out to you, because there are plenty of things that stick out to me in terms of the Xavier line.
Well, 15 assists on 15 made baskets, Dave, is virtually unheard of. And then they shoot 10 of 16 from 3 because they're excellent shooters. A clinic from the offensive standpoint for Xavier. And Auburn started well, but the fatigue factor and the depth factor is starting to take hold on the Tigers.
Well, we'll see if Auburn can stay in that zone, what they will do. They actually come out in a man-to-man defense to start the second half.
Well, you got to try something different at some point. Now the question becomes, can they play without fouling?
And the quick answer to that is no. 7 seconds in, a foul against Dwayne Reed. And for Dwayne, that will be his second. Overall, Xavier 65% from the floor, 62% from behind the arc.
And back zone after that one possession, Dave.
Burrell lines up a three. That was way off the mark. Loose ball taken by Prowl. Up ahead it comes to Barrett.
Auburn needs to chip away at this lead. Every 5-minute segment, maybe cut it by 3. Something like that, Dave, and see if they can get back in this game slowly but surely. They're not going to make it up all at one time.
Might have got away with the travel, did Frank Tolbert, but Prowl goes inside. Dip the shoulder, offensive foul. Jeff Lebo doesn't like it. Quan Prowl doesn't like it. Not a lot anybody can do about it.
Well, good possession. They get it into a very good scorer at the low post, but the help comes across the lane. He ball screens, he rolls to the goal. Nice feeding pass inside, but the help comes across the lane right there to take the charge. Excellent weak side defense by Xavier.
That is the third foul on Quan Prowl. This is exactly what you were talking about. I mean, you got to leave him in. You have no other option.
You have none, Dave, and if you're Xavier, I mean, you're playing so well offensively, I don't even think you worry about going at him. Just keep doing what you're doing. And Auburn now back man-to-man again. Now, Xavier runs a lot of set plays, very good action. They put their very good scorers in position to be successful with their set plays versus man-to-man.
There's an offensive foul. A little forearm shiver from Drew Lavender.
Excuse me, Dave. You know what I like, though? Lavender showed no emotion. Didn't go, what's going on here? Just gave the ball to the official, took it in stride. Very veteran reaction.
Here's Prowl. Up ahead to Lavender. It's a 3-on-1 break.
Oh, my.
A no-look back pass. Tolbert pulled to the ground by Jason Love. That'll be his first.
Now that was fairly creative here. Without looking, he knows he's there. He just gives it right back. But Dwayne Reed does a good job of not only playing Lavender, but playing the player going to the hole hard. What a bounce pass behind his back.
Barrett at the free throw line. That's off the mark. 3 blue jerseys surround the basketball. Virtually no offensive rebounding for Auburn. Not a lot of size on the Musketeer team, but all quick jumpers. This has been a Xavier team that's been very good on the glass this year. They are first in the A-10 in rebound margin. They are holding their opposition to 30 rebounds a game while they're pulling down over 38. Lavender kicks it around to Burrell. And Derrick Brown steps on the inline while he had his hand on the basketball, so Auburn will have it. Sluggish start here to the second 20 minutes of this game. Neither team has posted a point yet. We've played 2 minutes and 15 seconds. Barrett. Brown, that's a good pass. And the foul counted. That was a good offensive set by Auburn.
Excellent pass by Barrett, as you indicate, Dave. Auburn is setting ball screens, and then they're rolling him to the basket. A little screen, and then he rolls to the basket. Excellent pass by Rasheem Barrett. And Quan Prowl around the basket is a very quick, powerful jumper.
You think he would have caused some matchup problems had he been playing the 2, as you mentioned to me earlier?
They were going to zone and play 4 bigs, and he would have been a big guard out front.
Man. What could have been, what should have been, what might have been.
Auburn man-to-man.
Boy, some physical play by Duncan in that post. No whistle. There's Reed back the other way. Dwayne Reed off the window. Count it! Three-point opportunity on the way for Dwayne Reed.
Well, poor transition defense by Xavier. The first thing you have to do is someone has got to get the basket, and then the next guy back must stop the ball. But again, off the dribble is the best thing Auburn's done here today. They're creating opportunities with dribble penetration.
So Auburn goes 6-0 out of the locker room to cut this to an 11-point game. Back to a man-to-man defense by Auburn.
Great pressure on the ball by Dwayne Reed.
Duncan off the mark. Auburn basketball.
Well, that's a pretty good look. Duncan's 6'9", but he's a very good three-point shooter. He sets the ball screen and rolls out. Now Auburn's already exceeded, Dave, that 5 points every couple of minutes. They still need to have great patience here.
Xavier has yet to score here in the second half. That's a 3. Rasheem Barrett, his 3rd of the game. And it's an 8-point contest. Timeout. Sean Miller and the Musketeers, as it's a 9-0 start for Auburn here in the second half. Barrett and company playing some inspired ball. Back in a moment. Here's 0 out of 5. Rasheem Barrett now with 11 points, a big three-pointer. What has Auburn done differently?
Well, a little bit more patient, Dave. They've made shots, and Xavier's still getting pretty good shots. Hasn't made any.
Offensive foul. Wave it off. Lavender going to the basket.
And that's the first little sign of panic that I see for Xavier. Out of the timeout, you want more patience than this. And Lavender decides just to take it to the basket, and Tolbert crosses the lane to take the charge.
Quickly back the other way go Auburn. Quan Prowl. Probably a quick shot. Lavender crossover to the basket. Blocked by Robertson. Up ahead it comes to Tolbert, the high flyer.
Well, now we have to see the experienced team settle down and work for wide open shots here.
The man-to-man defense has caused Xavier some problems. Burrell blocking foul on Robertson. A little late getting there, and with that there'll be a timeout on the floor. How about your point guard with a block shot? Sets up the fast break to the high-flying Frank Tolbert, and Auburn has made this a 6-point game. High dodge. It's the last test before conference play begins, and really one of the last tests before school gets started. Both these schools still out for Christmas vacation.
Well, the man-to-man defense has Xavier now driving more to the basket, and the block shot, just like a steal, can easily create baskets and opportunities. And Auburn really playing well starting the second half, Dave.
You know, I mentioned the holiday vacation right now. Everybody's been out of school for 3 or 4 weeks. As a coach, you've been involved in this. How tough is it to keep your team locked in when there's no school going on, there's no real rhythm to what you're doing.
It's tougher, although the NCAA rule of 20 hours per week practice goes out the door when there's no school. So coaches typically keep them on the court a lot longer.
Nice move by Burrell. He'll get his own miss. The putback. Got it. That is just the first basket in almost 5 minutes for Xavier. This team shot 65% in the first half. Here's Reed. Guarded by Burrell. Reed had his pass blocked. Boy, Burrell's motivated. Tracy Woodson down there telling him to calm it down. You know, Tracy's a baseball coach at Valpo. College baseball coach, yeah. See, I brought one thing to the table today that you didn't know. I feel proud of myself. Robertson fires in and out. Duncan, the rebound.
Nice set play on the out of bounds. Get the shot they want, but rattles out.
Duncan on the other end and count it. Looking more like Tim Duncan.
Well, that's an excellent low to high going to the basket pass by the Musketeers. It goes in low and Duncan dives. The rule of thumb is anytime the low post has the ball, the high post goes to the basket. And a terrific pass by Derrick Brown to Josh Duncan for the easy basket. That's an automatic look, Dave. Low to high, high to low. They work as a team.
Josh very good at the free throw line, 87%. Former Gatorade Player of the Year in his high school state of Ohio back in 2004. And converts the three-point play, 47-36. That's 5 straight for the Musketeers. And a kick basketball, inadvertent. Shot clock will hang at 27 seconds. 14:25 to go in the game.
Instead of trying to go to the hole with one pass, Tolbert needs to move the ball. I think Auburn needs to make 5, 6, 7 quick passes, move the defense around, catch somebody out of position, and then drive the ball and pitch.
Barrett off the prowl. There's Tolbert, high arching shot, no good. Rebound yanked out of there by C.J. Anderson. He will get it to Burrell. There's Anderson. Now Raymond fires. Got it. Top of the key over Frank Tolbert. Just like that, it's a 14-point game.
And that was a tough contested jumper, excuse me, Dave, but when you're as hot as he is, good shooters can make contested shots. And Xavier's man-to-man has really picked up after that last timeout.
For our Southeast Toyota trivia question of the afternoon. Name the current SEC coach who is the active leader in victories at his school. How about that? Think about that for a minute. A lot to choose from. Some guys have been around the league quite a long time now. When you think of the Mark Godfreys of the world, the Billy Donovans, Rick Stansberrys, Kevin Stallings, Dave Odoms,
John Brady.
I mean, this guy's been around for a long time.
Xavier starting to get back on track. Auburn now not making their shots, Dave. It's one and done. They've got no offensive rebounding. Xavier cleaning up on the defensive end and now putting the ball in better places offensively to score points.
Love to the free throw line, knocks down that free throw. Jason Love has scored double figures the last 3 games with a high of 11 versus Kansas State. He's one of those transitional players that came in and started the last 3 games when Sean Miller made the switch. Didn't like the way things were going after the loss to Tennessee and put Love in the lineup, and he has produced for his head coach.
Philadelphia native, it gives him an extra body and a nice size inside.
Here's Proud. Reed fires. You know, Jeff Lebo said it to me, said it to the newspaper guys, said it to everybody, if they don't shoot the ball well, it'll be a long day for this Auburn team. Make it a 13-0 run for the Musketeers. Auburn had cut it to 6 at 42-36. Since that time, the Musketeers have exploded, and it's only taken just over 2 minutes to produce 13 points.
Well, it came back quick for Auburn, but it went back the other way quick. An excellent penetration and pitch by Burrell. And what are you going to say for Raymond? He is just, that rim, that hole in that basket looks very big for B.J. Raymond.
He is 6 out of 7 from behind the arc, 18 big points. And you see what the Musketeers have in front of them non-conference-wise this season before they begin serious A-10 play. And, well, Arizona State, as you mentioned, the only poor game that they played all year, but then they lose to Tennessee back-to-back games. And that's when Sean Miller said, you know what, guys, I don't like what I'm seeing. I'm going to change this up. And since then, they have been just dominating the opponents.
Well, 12th RPI strength of schedule. When you have that kind of depth, Dave, think about the practices Sean Miller can have with that competition. Unbelievable. And let me say this, Indiana, they blew Indiana out. And not controlled the whole game and won easily. Well, it's a little strong on a neutral court in Chicago.
Xavier in the zone defense.
Watch the closeouts. Every time they close out, hands up, 2 hands up, right there. Hands up.
And they're always looking for that trap on the wing if they can get it. That's an awkward shot by Barrett, left it short. Anderson will get it back to Burrell. And a lot of this run, and really surprisingly, has happened with Drew Lavender on the bench. That helps when you have the top 2 guys in your conference in assist-to-turnover ratio that can alternate between the 1 and the 2.
Now, think about close games. They shoot 92% from the foul line, both of them. You put the ball in their hands in close games. Look at this. And those are automatic points when they get fouled.
Robertson, that's a 3. He got it.
Wide open 3. Nice pass by Dwayne Reed. Nothing fancy, simple play, and Auburn back man-to-man.
That was their first field goal in 4 minutes. Robertson now with 5 in the game. Nice pass and the easy layup. Duncan hits Burrell, and that was textbook basketball.
Well, there's a 6'9" guy making a terrific pass. You don't see post players able to do those kind of passes. Typically, post players are not very skilled when passing the ball. So I like the zone by Sean Miller. Now, if I'm Sean Miller up 18, Dave, I don't mind slowing the game down. Auburn's the one now that has to press the issue from a tempo standpoint.
Robertson at the free throw line, and Love just took it right out of his hands. Jump ball. Arrow favors Auburn. And there's a timeout on the floor. Musketeers, how about that high-low game? That's pretty good.
Even under it.
Lead to 6, but Xavier keeps it going. As you look at our Dodge drive of the game, Lavender to Derrick Brown. Lavender spent the last few minutes on the bench, but nonetheless, big part of that Dodge drive of the game. Lavender back on the floor now for Sean Miller. Auburn off the inbounds pass. Crowell draws the foul. He'll go to the free throw line.
Number 5, Derrick Brown, his second personal, 7th team foul.
You look at the Atlantic 10, Coach, and that is a league that maybe is flying under the radar right now. But I got to tell you something, basketball fans, this is a league to keep an eye on. 2 teams made it to the NCAA tournament a year ago, but there's every reason to believe that there could be 3, maybe 4 get in from this league. There are some teams that are off to great starts. Xavier, of course, off to a great start. Rhode Island 14-1, UMass 11-3, Duquesne 10-3, Dayton 12-1.
Outstanding league this year, Dave. And I watched the UMass Vanderbilt game yesterday. UMass was up 14 or 15 at one point in Memorial Gymnasium. They're terrific. So I would agree. I think much like the Missouri Valley a couple of years ago, which I believe got 4 or 5 teams in, I think this league will get at least 3 and maybe 4.
Here's Robertson. Fuentes, 5 points. Now Tolbert. He'll pull up just inside the arc. No good. Rebound. Right into the hands of Derrick Brown.
Auburn now struggling in the half-court offense to get any good looks, Dave. They've got to get out in transition, whether it's on a rebound or a steal. And then again, one and done. No offensive boards for the very small, depleted roster.
And a blocking foul underneath against Frank Tolbert. You know, it's not uncommon for Xavier to have some success when you think about who's been their coach. If you go back to the mid-'80s, Pete Gillen kind of got the ball rolling. Won 73% of his games, and of course the late Skip Prosser and Thad Matta before he went to Ohio State.
Look at those records, which tells you first of all how successful this basketball program has been, and certainly Skip Prosser. I coached a lot of years, and we see how well Sean has done in the last 10 years. It's been terrific at Xavier. But let me go back quickly to Skip Prosser. Tough business, college coaching. It's very difficult to have great relationships with everybody. Skip Prosser is one of the few, if not only coach I know, that every other coach liked. Everybody likes Skip Prosser.
Robertson threw it to nobody. Lavender back the other way. Burrell. And he flies right in to Quan Prowl, who draws the offensive foul.
Sean Miller not very happy, trying to get the officials' attention, and the official will not even look over that way. Burrell is very much out of control now. Whether it's a block or a charge, it was a close call. But quite frankly, I don't like players getting bailed out when they're totally out of control, as Burrell was.
James Breeding just ignored Sean Miller.
He really did. Hey, Dave. Sean's going, hey, Dave. And Dave's he's checking other things out. Yeah.
I've got time for that. Here's Robertson. Back to Dwayne Reed. Here's Williams. Quan Prowl. Tried to go off the window. Nothing happening as we go under 10 minutes. And a 17-point game. Biggest lead of the afternoon has been 19. And a blocking foul. That will go against Larry Williams, Jr.
Quintez Robinson now, Dave, I believe, on the bench. He's back out. He was on the bench, I believe, for his first break of the game. Played 20 minutes in the first half. The Iron Man of Southeastern Conference basketball.
Fourth foul on Quan Prowl. Thought that foul was on Larry Williams Jr., but they give it to Prowl instead. Josh Duncan to the line. 5 points, 5 rebounds. Well, if you want to play minutes, come to Auburn.
Well, there are some available. You know, and the problem, Dave, I mean, Dollard's out for the year. Barber, they're saying, Coach Lieber was telling me, at least 4 weeks, and then it's 2 more weeks after that to get him back ready to play. So there's not any positive news in sight versus this real deficit they're playing with.
Yeah, I mean, if you're out 6 weeks, that takes you almost to the tournament.
Well, there's some thought. I think he's barely over the applying for a medical redshirt rule, but I think Auburn's going to look into it. I think he played 3 minutes more than the rule would allow, and I think they're going to look into it, possible whether he could redshirt or not.
With some of the transfers I've seen and some other decisions made, I don't know why they couldn't get a year for him if need be. Here's Dwayne Reed. Burrell has been everywhere in the second half. Oh, my goodness! Derrick Brown with the throwdown and the foul.
Well, Sean Miller loves the nastiness, a little bit of nastiness that he brings to the table. And Dave, if he was going to charge, he was going to charge. That ball was being dunked, regardless of who was there. Nice pass by Burrell, and woo! The lefty just swoops in there, flying through the air.
Poor Tolbert took one right in the chest and picked up his 4th foul in the process. Derrick Brown, the redshirt sophomore out of Dayton, Ohio, now has 9 points in the game.
64% from the floor. You can see why when you're taking shots like this, you are going to have a high percentage, and that's a good call. That is a block. One McDonald's All-American on this team, Dave. That's Drew Lavender. Most of these other kids were good, solid players in high school, not highly recruited players. Xavier has always been able to identify and recruit very good players that were somewhat overlooked by the so-called top 20, the real bigs.
And Drew actually came in from Oklahoma. He spent 2 years playing for the Sooners before finding his way back home, if you will. He's out of Columbus, Ohio. Harum throws it away. Here's Burrell. Nice 1-2 game, and Brown got kind of caught up underneath the iron. Auburn the other way. Robertson. Players slipping all over this floor. There's nothing underneath the floor here like ice in some arenas. Just slippery on that end.
That last play was the right idea for Xavier. It wasn't successful, but it was a 2-on-1 where you typically want to pass the ball back and forth and not let one defender guard both.
Well, I really like Stanley Burrell, 34 for Xavier. My first chance to see him. I really like everything. Intensity defensively, heady player offensively, can play the 1 or 2 for you.
Sean Miller was telling me yesterday at practice that Burrell has made incredible strides. He was a defensive liability when he first came to Xavier. Now he's playing, the best guard on the other team. He did a great job on Chris Lofton when they played Tennessee last year. I believe Sean told me he took 1 charge the entire year. This year he's leading the team in charges taken. He was very, very high on the progress of Stanley Burrell.
He's averaged double figures every season he's played at Xavier. There's Brown, got right to the front of the iron and laid it up and in.
An assist by their 5-man, Josh Duncan. Excellent passing.
19 assists, 21 made field goals.
Wow.
Barrett fires, left it short. I think a lot of shots by some of these Auburn players will be short, these long jumpers, due to the fact that they're playing every minute of the game.
Well, good point, Dave. If you notice, they've started off well in both halves, but as the half goes on, fatigue sets in.
Derrick Brown has made the highlight reel a time or 2 here in the second half. This one will be remembered for a while. Back in a moment.
What is this guy doing?
I can't get through the gate. The gate is narrow.
Unbelievable.
All right, hey, what do you want me to do? Just back up. I'm stuck.
Hey, Tony. Hey, Scott. Just finished up the show. Guess I'm gonna head on out of here.
Cool.
Go home watching some television or something.
All right, enjoy.
Get your game up to par and maybe even under it with ESPN Golf Schools presented by American Express. One-day programs offered in over 50 cities for players of all skill levels. Sign up today and receive a $400 Callaway Golf gift card. Enroll with your American Express card and get an extra $50. Log on to ESPNGolfSchools.com or call 1-800-642-5528.
That has had trouble finding the bottom of the net. Just one of their last 9 from the floor, and part of the reason is their 2 guns. Dollard was perhaps their best player. He's out for the season. He's taking a red shirt for medical reasons, and then there's Barber, of course. We talked about him breaking his hand. He's out for 4 to 6 weeks, maybe a little bit longer.
And Dave, there's no answer really. There's just nobody else over there that you can put in to match anywhere near those numbers.
And Auburn the last 2 years has been the smallest team in the league. And now they're even smaller than they've been in the past. And a foul underneath. Dwayne Reed underneath. Didn't see Dwayne, but obviously he was holding somewhere. There's Quan Prowl, one of those guys we're talking about. Quan goes 6'8", but mainly you could say he's an inside player, but he's more comfortable out on the perimeter, 10 to 20 feet away from the basket.
Right, not very good with his back to the basket, Dave. He can score inside, but he's not a post-up. He's a slasher to the basket player, playing with 4 fouls.
24-point lead, largest of the game now for the Musketeers.
Again, Xavier zoning up 24. It will take Auburn more time to get a good shot. Now they are the team that wants to control the tempo and slow this game down.
Xavier, talk about a good shooting team, coach. They're 22 out of 38 from the floor, but they're 10 out of 10 at the line.
Well, 77% for the year. Again, and you try to defend them. If you're the defensive coordinator, Dave, what do you do? What do you think?
Getting sick that day.
I agree with Jeff Lebo's decision to go zone. That's what Arizona State did to beat them, although they played Arizona State after beating Cincinnati in a very emotional, close game.
Boy, physical basketball game. We've had a chance to watch a little bit of that Cincinnati game, and talk about two teams getting after it. And that's the kind of basketball that guy loves. He loves to get it in your face. Hard-nosed, physical guy. I remember watching him play. I mean, that's how he was.
Very tough. Played for his dad in high school. John up in the Pittsburgh area. In fact, Sean Miller is one of those guys who was a terrific little ball handler. Came to North Carolina's basketball camp when he was a little guy and gave clinics and spun the ball and dribbled it off his head and got between his legs and all that stuff.
Yeah, Tolbert knocks down the three. He was like a halftime performer.
Yes.
When he was 6, 7 years old.
Correct. And brother Archie now in coaching as well. I know his dad and mom very proud of all the accomplishments of their sons. In fact, his dad had Dante Calabria, who played at North Carolina.
Lavender fires. Got it. 13 out of 21 from behind the arc.
Wide open three.
Coach, they're shooting better from behind the arc than they are overall. 62% from three-point land and 59% for the game. There's Brown with another rebound, and for Brown, he'll have 7 of those to go with 11 points. Lavender will try it again. Lavender has it again. He's got 15. That's 4 players in double figures.
Pretty impressive, Dave Neal. We knew we would see a good basketball team, and we're seeing a team that, quite frankly, I knew they were very good. I didn't realize they could shoot it that well from that many spots. Oh, my.
Brown comes back to block the Prowl shot. Here's Graves. We'll get it to Lavender. Around the perimeter we go. B.J. Raymond. Duncan fires. How about your 6'9" post player stepping back and knocking it down? Coming into this game, he hit 7 of his last 10 three-pointers over the last 3 games.
Well, they've got 4 shooters on the court. Brown's the only non-3-point shooter, and it's very difficult to guard anybody with 4 shooters. As Jeff Lebo is saying, this is getting kind of ridiculous.
Revisit our Southeast Toyota trivia question. Name the current SEC coach who was the active leader in victories at his school. We told you there's a lot of guys you could choose from that have been around for a long time, but it's somebody you might imagine with a couple of national titles to his credit.
Well, that's logical. He's been there a long time, and he's had some pretty good years. I think the last 2 before this one were pretty good.
Look at the 3-point shooting. It just continues the trend. Here's a little steal by Dwayne Reed, and he steps on the sideline. That's pretty much how it's gone for the Tigers. Not much Jeff Lebo can do. He's just, his hands are tied. Down 30.
ESPN Full Court is presented by Olivia, award-winning high-definition television.
Back inside Beard Eves Memorial Coliseum, Dave Neal along with Coach Eddie Fogler, where we're watching a pretty good clinic on how to play basketball by the Musketeers right now. They lead by 30. And they have, other than a 4-minute lapse to start the second half, it has been quite flawless. Here's Raymond. He'll miss the three. That could have tied a school record had they knocked that down. They're 15 out of 23 from behind the arc today. 15 out of 24 now. They tied a school record earlier this year when they knocked down 16 threes. Offensive foul call. They knocked down 16 three-pointers against Virginia in their last outing, which tied the school record. They were 16 out of 26 as you look at the game summary. And coming into this game, from behind the arc in their previous two contests, they had knocked down 27 of 43. So the beat continues.
Well, you know, 27 of 43, you would like to think they couldn't do that in shooting drills with no one guarding them, let alone in game competition.
42 of 67 in the last three games.
You know, Xavier's had some great players, Dave. You know, they've had a great program. David West, Brian Grant, Tyrone Hill, James Posey, Aaron Williams, all have gone on to the NBA. Do a terrific job graduating their student athletes. And this is an excellent team that has a chance to really do something special.
Reed way off the mark. Okay, after a few minutes of silence where I could concentrate on the numbers, I figured this out.
There you go. So get your calculator out.
42 of 67 in their last three games behind the arc. That is 63%. I mean, you know, some games you might get hot, but that's three games against three good opponents. You're talking about Virginia, Kansas State, and now Auburn.
Exactly, and they get good shots. They got excellent passers. That's part of it. Wide open look there.
And they just tied the school record.
Inside out, they go inside. The defense collapses. They don't force it. They kick it out. Wide open shot.
There's a three from Lucas Hargrove, the sophomore.
Now, I'm going to give you some trivia. Lucas Hargrove went to kindergarten. Are you ready for this? With my daughter. Columbia, South Carolina. Windsor Elementary High School. There's trivia for you. Duncan for Windsor. There you go, Lucas.
Lucas showing he's got some hops.
And I'm not kidding. He wasn't my daughter's kid.
Could you tell was he a player back then?
You know, I don't remember him. My wife and daughter do.
Jackson to the basket.
Nice young man. Visited with Lucas every time I come to Auburn. Tell him Columbia is still Columbia.
Tolbert, he fires. That's off the mark. Xavier needs one more three for the school record.
Well, quite a performance. Good luck to the Musketeers, Sean, and your staff the rest of the way out. For Jeff Lebo, I think he's got the right idea to play, though, Dave. I think they've got a zone. I think they've got to slow the game down, and they've got to play people who don't play quite as well on a given night like Xavier has.
Lucas Hargrove had a broken hand, hasn't practiced much, hasn't played much. He's showing he's got some game now.
Well, I brag on Lucas, and look what happens.
Here's Jackson. He'll pull up. That's off the mark. Tolbert up ahead to Dwayne Reed. Tolbert blocking foul. Free throws on the way. Our forward edge of your seat play of the game. Why not give it to Mr. Drew Lavender? Is he leading the three-point parade? Lavender 5 out of 6. Actually, he's not leading the parade, but he's among the parade goers. Raymond 6 out of 8. Lavender 5 out of 6. Burrell 3 out of 6. (16 out of 26 from behind the arc for the Musketeers. There's Drew Lavender. 5 players in double figures now. highlighted by the 18 from B.J. Raymond, 15 from Lavender, 13 from Burrell, 12 from Duncan, and 11 from Brown. On the other side, Rasheem Barrett leads with 11. Frank Tolbert has 10. Juan Crowell 9. And Hargrove, in just a few minutes of game action, has 8.
Jeff Lebo has starters on the court. I mean, the walk-ons can't play in this game. They have no clue what to do, so he's even forced down 26 points, Dave, to continue to play starters. No choice.
Under 10 seconds to go. Here's Robertson. Hargrove, how about that? He's got 11. At least there's a bright spot for Auburn, and that's Lucas Hargrove. But a big win for Sean Miller. They go to 12-3 and look awesome doing it. 80-57, the final score, and they finish with a school record tying 16 threes. Our final score: Xavier 80, Auburn 57. Don't forget an ACC Sunday night hoops doubleheader coming your way tonight, beginning at 7:30. For Eddie Poker, I'm Dave Neal. So long, everybody.
ESPN Full Court is presented by Olivia, award-winning high-definition television.